Hello, welcome to Chicago Sports Podcast. Hey, it's kind of quiet on the front as we approach training camp, but people want to know, is the idea of bringing Trey Hendrickson to the Chicago Bears a dead issue? Or, is it that Ryan Poles and company is playing a chess game with us and also with the Cincinnati Bengals? Me and my man Eric is going to talk about a lot of that and a little more next on Chicago Sports Podcast.
Let's go. Yo. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm your host for the evening, D Nice, and I'm here with my man Eric. How's it going, Eric?
It's going. It's going. Let's go, right?
All good, all
Another
good. How you feeling?
another Wednesday to get through, little hump day, get over this hump, get the rest of the week over with.
Yeah, believe it or not, man, Hump Day is one of my favorite days out the week, man.
You're halfway there, man.
Yeah,
Halfway there.
halfway there, man. Halfway there. Gives you something to look towards, you know what I'm saying, as the weekend approaches. Feeling good tonight?
Yeah. Let's get into it, huh?
Yeah.
Should we get the ball rolling, huh?
Hey, let's talk about it. The Trey Hendrickson conversation. It's been pretty quiet as training camp approaches. We're not hearing a whole lot of rumblings and grums from pretty much anybody, but specifically talking about the Bears. I think what they're doing is kind of laying low, and if we are able to produce a good offer that works for both sides, then I think something may happen. But until then, Cincinnati is pushing a hard line about trading him, and they've had offers that they've turned down. Hendrickson is standing on his square. He's not budging either. Him and his representation, they're not budging. They're ready. They want a deal, but they want their deal, not the deal that Cincinnati is trying to give them. So they had a little stalemate. But my thing is this: should we, as Bears fans, want this? You know what I'm saying? Should we, as Bears fans, want Trey Hendrickson on this team?
The answer is yes, but let's be realistic, right? This isn't something that's probably going to happen. I mean, the answer is yes, right? Because we need help. We need help for the pass rush. We need help on the other side of Montez. We need to help up front. I mean, we spoke about it a couple times. Like
Mm-hmm.
we need that defensive line to get more intense. It's not as intense as we would like it to be. I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, though, I mean, and pretty much during the whole offseason, it was kind of just wishful thinking. I mean, does anybody really think we're going to make that move at this point in the game? I don't think so. I think that if we were going to do something, it would have been, you know, pre-draft or during the draft, right? And then
Yeah.
that's what many of these teams would have probably did. They would have made their move pre-draft or during the draft because I'm pretty sure that's what Cincinnati was looking for, was something, in the first round, because they
Mm-hmm.
do have an elite player. This guy's good. He's really
Yeah.
good. He gets the numbers, right? So
Yeah.
uh, he deserves the money, definitely. But it's a business at the end of the day, and they're at a stalemate. So I would say him coming here, it's time to let that dream die.
Yeah. Listen, you make a lot of interesting points, and I'm gonna step to a couple of them. Not step on. I'm stepping two. I'm gonna talk about a few of them. Now, before I do that, let's talk about Trey Hendrickson, because just recently he ranked number 6 in ESPN's pass rushers ranking. Okay, that put him ahead of guys like Brian Burns, Danielle Hunter, and Detroit's Aiden Hutchinson. So listen, number 6, it's great to be top 5, but he's right outside of the top 5 at number 6. Okay, 35 sacks the last 2 seasons. Us as Bears fans will love that, right? His ability to rush the passer is truly impressive. Like, ain't no doubt about that. But it's always a but, right? The Bears had, as a team, they had 40 sacks, right? Now we hear that and it's like, most people would say, oh, that's terrible or that's not enough. But the Bears had more sacks than the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions. They were even with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they also had more sacks than the Buffalo Bills. The Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles, had 41 sacks as a team. That's one more than us, and they won the Super Bowl. Okay? Now, the NFL leaders last year were the Denver Broncos with 63. But hell, with their 63 sacks, they only won 10 games. Okay? So, my question is it a true need by the Bears, or do we just have to tighten up what we have in house?
It's
Now,
time to tighten that belt, right? I like that where you're going there because that's what I'm thinking too.
okay, because all right, just say you get a nice car. It's a hell of a lot nicer if you throw some rims on it or some tinted windows or things of that nature. And I honestly think, you know what I'm saying, what Trey Hendrickson will be for us is rims and tinted windows, just like Khalil Mack was. And do remember, we acquired Khalil Mack maybe 2 weeks before the season started. He didn't even do training camp with us. So a lot of these major deals still can get made like right before the regular season starts. Because let's face it, a guy that's been in the league that long, as long as Hendrickson has, he's not really excited about training camp, man. You know what I'm saying? Those guys that's longer in the tooth, they look at training camp as like this grueling thing. And it's like, it's like kissing a virgin to these guys. You know what I'm saying? Now to the younger players and guys are still, trying to, accelerate their play, then, those guys are a lot more excited. Guys trying to earn a spot. They're a lot more excited about training camp, turning heads. But a guy established like Trey Hendrickson, he's not. I guarantee he's not a fan or a big fan of training camp. But let's go back. Eric, what do you think about my nerd stats, if you will, about the Bears and the sack total?
I mean, all right, let's use your analogy for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we really need the rims? Is the car going to get us to where we need to go? Right? That's kind of
Yeah.
where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to have these things, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, there's some top tier teams right there that you mentioned that didn't have those kind of numbers, and they still. But I mean, I feel like those teams that you did mention, they played a complete defensive unit, like from the front to the top. You know what I mean? So their defenses were shut down defenses. You know what I'm saying? Sack numbers are great. I mean, but giving up big plays after the sack, that's probably where that Denver stat comes in, right? Because like you said, Denver, their defense was one of the best in getting to the quarterback. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I really like that Kansas City defense, and I really like that. I mean, I love that Philadelphia defense, especially in the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like these teams were shutting teams down. Like they were locking in on what guys were doing, and I love getting to the quarterback. We beat this horse over and over again. I love sacks. They're exciting. They're game changers at some points. But
True.
I mean, if you can play shutdown defense, which I feel like we have a good unit. Like we have a good unit. I do want more pressure up front. I would like to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But man, let's just at this point, let's just hope that Montez has a rebound year, right? Like,
Yeah,
let's
that'll
just
be
hope
good.
that the guys that we do have are hungry and they want to, take that next step in their career to becoming, household names, better players, jersey sellers,
Mhm.
etc. And I'm here for that, right? Like, I want to
Right.
see those other guys take that next step, right? And this unit be more solid than it is. I like our secondary. We have some highly paid linebackers.
Hmm.
Um, they're still very talented. They didn't do as well. Some of them were injured last year, but
Hmm.
obviously that front up front, we just got to hope it's enough, right? For now, because I don't,
Yeah.
I don't think that anything's going to happen like that where we're going to make a monster deal for Trey Henderson or even pick up these guys that be like. There's a few veterans out there that are still available in free
Mhm.
agency, and I'm not really liking those names that are out there. Clowney or even a Miller or there's
Yeah.
guys that are past their prime, right? Like, look,
Right.
let's find a young guy that's ready to come up, that's ready to step up. And we have a few guys that every once in a while show peaks of potential.
Hmm.
And we have new defensive coaches, new defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Let's see how that looks, right? Like, I mean, as Bears fans, we want the strong defense. But I'm
Absolutely.
also ready to see that, Ferrari offense, that race car offense, right? That's
Yeah.
ready to go, break out the gates and just take off.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Now this is another one I want to throw at you. Now the Vikings won 14 games last year, right? They had 49 sacks. So we had 40 with the injured Montez Sweat. So do you think 9 tackles would have won us uh 9 more games?
Nah, I think of the for that specific category, right? Like the
9 sacks,
Minnesota
I'm
thing,
sorry, yeah.
that Minnesota thing that didn't have really anything to do with the sacks. It
Right.
had to it had to do with the guy that we all thought was washed up at quarterback or was only going to ever be a backup at quarterback. Just get him with the new organization and a new system and showing that he has what it takes to play quarterback in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
Like
that mattered. That definitely mattered.
that was like the surprise I think last year. Like that this guy uh, just came out there and he was firing on all cylinders, right? Like who thought?
Right.
Everybody thought, well, he's going to step in for the rookie and he's just going to muddle them through, but he ended up giving them a great season. A
Right.
great season. So I don't think like those 9 sacks can even be comparable in that situation because the quarterback play from that team and the offense. There goes that red hot Corvette thing, man. That offense was off and firing on all cylinders and off to the races. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
True indeed. But okay, another thing I want you to think about, right? All right. Remember we had a conversation about the sack artist and the disruptor, right?
yeah,
Minnesota's defense is truly not necessarily about getting sacks. It's about disrupting the timing of the quarterback to force the quarterback to make mistakes. That's why I was saying, I would rather the disruptor, than
yeah, we were at
actually.
opposite ends on this, right? Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah. I
right, right.
remember.
And let me tell you why I said that. Because Minnesota had 49 sacks, but their controlled chaos type of defense that they run that disrupts and knocks the quarterback's timing off. As great as the offense was, it also led to them having an NFL lead with 24 interceptions as a team.
Yeah.
So, as great as this offense was, this defense gave that offense a second chance a bunch of times.
Right. I feel like that's because the pass rush was there on
That's what
that
I'm saying.
situation, and the sacks, those 9 more tackles, it just shows that they were in that backfield. I mean,
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, I like your disruptor theory, but I still want that guy finishing it. You know what I mean? Still want that
True.
guy finishing it. But I mean, can the Bears be that disrupt their defense without getting the total sack numbers? With pressure, they could, because those guys in the secondary
Yeah.
definitely play great football, right? Our secondary is probably one of the best, I think, personally. And I am, just sounding like a true Bears fan. But yeah, I like our secondary. I really do. A lot of those guys are not old. They're still in their what you would consider
Yeah.
prime. They're
Mm-hmm.
not 30 yet. Nobody's 30 yet, which is over the hill for football. Makes me sad when I say it, right? 30 is
Supposedly.
over the hill. But I mean, yeah, maybe we could turn into that. I was just hoping for more help, and
Yeah.
the Trey Henderson thing, Hendricks thing was a dream though. I never really bought into it too much. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was something that was totally going to happen. I mean, we rarely get what we want outside of that, every once in a while you get a Christmas wish type situation. We 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 rarely make those moves. And I'm not mad, I don't want to waste picks, or I don't want to give away too much,
Mm-hmm.
right? You never know what's going to happen. And is
Absolutely.
is he going to hold out for Cincinnati? Who knows, right? And then I don't want to be involved in that kind of drama either, right? When you have a player that's not happy, like Cincinnati's going to have to deal with all this stuff now with a guy who's going to be disgruntled, and is he going to show up? Is he going to? And there's going to be too much focus on that, and we're at a point where we need to focus on certain things and don't have any distractions, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're changing regimes. All of our coaching is different. We need to focus on us and not worry about anybody, any singular player, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And speaking of Bears fans, we are you. Speaking of you talking like a Bears fan, you are a Bears fan. I am a Bears fan, and so is everybody checking in with us tonight. I appreciate everybody watching wherever you guys are watching from. Thank you for rocking with us tonight. We not gonna hold you too long. We just want to get this little bit of Bears conversation out. It's been burning us. It's been burning us all day, so we just had to get it out. Shout out to the people participating in the chat. Shout out to Trax, New Harper. New Harper agrees with you because our secondary is very good, Eric. Um, Shout out to James. Shout out to the whole Chicago podcast family, man. And I thank you guys for taking time out and rocking with us tonight, talking about Mr. Trey Hendrickson, talking about the dream and the aspirations of acquiring him through trade. Is it dead? Does it need to be dead? Should it be dead?
I got a shovel
Yeah, yeah. And
because
listen,
I'm ready to put it behind us and focus on the future, right? I mean,
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
awesome to have hopes and wishes, but at some point in time, we gotta, just move on.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. If we wake up tomorrow and he's the Chicago Bears, I am ecstatic.
I'm buying
I'm
the jersey. I'm buying the jersey.
yeah, like
I'm buying the
listen.
jersey, right?
I'm head over heels, bro. If we acquire him overnight, listen, great. But for now, let's focus on what we got going on in house. Let's try to develop the guys that we have. Now I see New Harper mentions Darius Smith. Man, like he was. It sounded good for me. Maybe a couple of months ago acquiring him, but he got this new girlfriend he parading around with, and she's a baddie. And I don't think I want him here, man. You
Yeah,
know what
we
I'm saying?
don't need anybody that has
Yeah,
any kind of side
yeah.
issues going on.
I don't. It's not that he has issues. It's that uh, I think he's gonna be drained, man.
Well, I mean,
She's
I get it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. Some of his energy is going to get lost pre-game
yes,
time or
sir.
the day before,
Yes,
but
sir. Shout out
or
to
you know
Cash
what?
Doll.
Maybe he needs to get that contract, and play the best football he can to keep that kind of baddie, right? You
Right,
never
right.
know. You never know. But I mean, we definitely want people that are all in on what we're doing,
Yeah, and
and that could focus on the mission here, and that's to take the Chicago Bears into the playoffs and
mhm.
dare I say it, even further than the playoffs, right? So,
Right.
I
And
mean,
go ahead.
anybody past their prime, only if it's for the right price, right? And I'm
Yeah,
talking discount price. I'm talking, if there's a fire sale and we could jump in on something that's decent, right? Because who could pass up a good deal? Nobody can, right?
absolutely. And but we don't need nobody here just taking up space either, man. Like if you ain't coming in here investing and giving all you got, or you don't have enough to give us, then stay outside this organization. Brandon says they won't be getting Henderson. Listen, I agree with you, but we've all seen stranger things, so we can't totally rule it out. But at this point, like I don't think that should be our focus. You know, I think we have a good enough team, to make some noise in the league. This season, not necessarily saying that we'll win a Super Bowl, but hell, we can be just as competitive as the Steelers, the Bills, the Lions. If we get everything. See, because these teams that we're naming that have less sacks than the Bears, what do they all have in common? Great quarterback play, high powered offense. So you have to kind of like offset that. You have to offset your low sack totals with something. So if we're just going to fully listen, let the defense do what it does, they got us 40 last year. All right,
You know what I want to talk about real quick?
go
What
for
got
it.
my dreams a little bit more fired up, and where I'm looking to slide away from the, like, if we're not going to get an edge rush,
Mm-hmm.
then why not a running back,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
my one of my favorite fantasy guys was in town over the weekend. Kamara.
yeah.
Did you catch that? He's at the
Yeah,
Cubs games, and he's around having fun in the city, NASCAR, all that stuff. Man, I know I caught a little twinkle in my eye for a minute, looking at that, wondering what he was doing out here. Seen him
yeah.
wearing a Cubs jersey, throwing out the first pitch.
That was a real head scratcher for me because Kamara's a Georgia guy. He's a Georgia boy. He's from the outside the Atlanta area. Um, so to see him throwing the first pitch at the Cubs game, I'm going to the internet trying to figure out if I missed something.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? We ain't
Yeah,
getting
right.
no breaking news. Trax ain't called my phone and said nothing. Nobody said anything to me. And this guy's throwing the first pitch as a Chicago Cub. For
At
the
the game,
Chicago
right? Yeah,
Cubs
at a Cubs
game.
game, right? Yeah, that's crazy, right?
So,
That
but
got my
that's
hopes up for a minute just to tear him down, right?
yeah, that listen in true Bears fashion, right? In true Bears fashion, but that was real interesting. And listen, if the Bears are flirting with the
I
Saints,
would not,
right?
I would not, I would not shy away from that any kind of deal with that man, because he is still a monster. He is
Still,
still
his production is huge. It's huge.
yeah, definitely a fantasy guy I had last year, and I'll take him again this year if he's there. I'm not gonna lie, and he's on a
And
trash team, so
and that's where I was going to go. Okay, as productive as he was, is his production because of the team that he's on and the weapons that they had are just have been obliterated, including the quarterback. And remember Olave, I think that he was talking about retirement at the time. You know, is it because of that, or does he still truly have it in him? I listen. I've watched Alvin Kamara since he's in high school. Um, the guy looks the same.
for
He
me, he's
runs.
it's he's still a stud. Okay,
Yeah.
it's whether or not it's usage, etc., whatever, it's opportunity, right? And
Hmm.
he's getting the ball in his hands, and he's making the most of the situation, even with the terrible team around him. Because I mean, just because his team's terrible doesn't mean the defense he goes up against is terrible, right? And
Yeah,
I'm not seeing a guy that's past his prime yet. And I'm definitely seeing a guy that if we could have swung a deal for him, and we need
yeah,
to make it happen. Because I
true.
mean,
Listen,
he would only help here.
I only help. Look, like I said, go to sleep tonight and wake up, and we acquire Alvin Kamara. I'll be
Buy
cool
the
with that too.
jersey.
I'll be
Buy the
cool with that
jersey.
too. But Brandon Bossman says we don't need a running back either, man. Our rookie running back is going to do big things behind Swift. Shoot, I think he could even take Swift's spot. That's what Mr. Bossman said. Now,
Well, there's a lot of talk about that, though, right? He's not the
that
only one
is.
saying that. There's a lot
That
of
is.
commentators and a lot of media guys that are saying the same thing, that this guy, he might be something special. And I'm anxious to see that too, right? Anxious to see it in preseason because he'll probably get a heavy workload. Preseason, those guys
Yeah.
that are rookies, they're going to get a lot of touches, and you're going to get a taste of what's to come.
Listen, I hope that guy's productive enough to be considered a starter. Hopefully, we can have two starters in the backfield. Listen, I'll love it because I, for one, think that Swift is going to have a great year next year. I mean, this coming year as well. Like people laugh at me when I said that, but I truly think Swift is going to be better, because he's shown the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's shown the ability to be productive in the running game. The problem is that it wasn't as consistent as we would like. I think part of that is because we had a whole lot of inconsistencies on the offensive end as a
Yeah,
whole.
struggling offensive line.
Yeah.
You could say it, man. Struggling
Yeah.
offensive line.
Well, no, not just the offensive line because listen, play calling and quarterback play. Now Caleb was good; he was all right last year, but that played a part in it as well. It was all a collective to me. We could sit up and
Yeah, we
like
kept on switching play callers too, like even at the end of the
this is
season.
what I'm saying. Like it's just a total. It was just listen. Instead of calling the Chicago Bears offense, it should have been called inconsistent. Because that's what it was because so many moving parts. Um, we didn't even have the same number of guys, the same five a lot of weeks. We had tackle playing guard, have this guy playing center. It was just a lot of moving parts. Because the guys that we had, outside of our top 10 draft pick and shoot, that's it last year. If you're just talking about last year, it was just a bunch of moving parts, and you cannot have consistent anything when you don't have consistent bodies where they're supposed to be. So, you know, a lot of us banged on the offensive line. I'm not going to exclude myself from that, but I also know that it's a lot deeper than that because if your play calling is struggling, it can make the offensive line look bad. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Like,
let's face it, from a coaching aspect, period, we struggled last year. It was bad. It was real bad.
yeah.
It doesn't get pretty much worse than that. The
No.
decision making from the highest level down was not there. And then when it did look good, uh, we fired the coach and the guy who was making the right calls. We bump him up to interim coach for a little while, and everything takes a dive again. And
Yeah.
it was a catastrophe, a mess. And let's just hope that this year everybody's on the same page,
Yeah.
and we're working towards the same goal, and we're getting downfield. You know,
Yeah, because it's easy to bang on the offensive line. Because another thing I heard this the last couple of weeks is that guys, former players, former quarterbacks are coming counter to the offensive line's defense and saying that a lot of sacks that Caleb took
holding
was
on to the ball.
yeah, it was pretty much on him. Now, I've heard Hall of Fame quarterbacks say if you take a sack as a quarterback, it's pretty much on you. Now the offensive line has its job and they do, unless the guy's a free runner, or something of that nature, hey, but some guys you just can't block. But as a quarterback, not being able to have a good feel in the pocket, if you sacks are a quarterback stat. That's what I heard a Hall of Famer say. And if you sitting around here taking all them sacks, we have to point the finger at you. That's what he said. That ain't coming from me, ladies and gentlemen. That came from a Hall of Famer. That
All
came
right,
from a
but
Hall of Fame NFL quarterback.
okay, well let's flip that coin though real quick because what
Mm-hmm.
we started this conversation out was the run game, right?
Yeah.
Well, the run game has a lot to do with what those guys up front are doing, and we were talking about inconsistency in our boy Swift, right? And
Mm-hmm.
inconsistency in play call, but yeah, it's also the inconsistency in those guys up front making the blocks for us to be able to have those big explosive one plays to get that guy up to the second level, and make big plays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Swift is not he's not slow. He's a very shifty guy. I mean, but he wasn't even making it to the second level. A lot of times he was barely getting a yard or loss of yards. So I mean, man, we could beat that dead horse all day and go back
All
and
day,
forth.
all
But
night.
there's
Yeah.
something I do want to touch on real quick.
Go for it.
And it was funny because I saw it, and it said Chicago Bears organization uh, found another way to disappoint fans today. And draft, I mean not draft, training camp tickets. Training camp tickets were released today,
Mm.
and of course they're free.
Uh-huh.
So they were done in seconds, right? In seconds. So I was all over social media just looking at it like, well, that's rough, right? Because the training camp is something that's awesome event. Like if you were lucky enough to score tickets
Mm-hmm.
to get down there, that's cool. But a lot of people took that L today. A lot of people took
Yeah.
that L today.
And I was one to say that I wanted to come down and check it out. But something in me told me that, with all this newness going on with this offense, it was going to be a long shot, man. It was going to be a long shot. But damn.
I could show you my theory, my little, because I did
Yeah.
get the W.
Oh, okay.
But
Right
but
on.
I had like 5 or 6 other people with me at the same time, and
Okay.
they all took the L. But yeah, and then I also had the wife trying too, and she took the L,
oh,
and
man.
it was, but it was like the guy next to me started literally 1 minute behind me, and he
Damn.
did not he didn't get anything. He was like, man, look, I'm in this queue. I'm number 2,000 in this queue, and
Sheesh.
yeah, no, but
Damn.
they last year same thing. They were gone in a heartbeat because you are going to House Hall, you're going to their property, and
Mm-hmm.
it's an awesome experience. I have been there the year before. I'm fortunate enough to try to go every training camp because I mean training camp is just something I love to do. My
Yeah.
kids, especially it being free and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
did like our time down in Bourbonnais. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Well, shout out to you, man. Whew. Shout out to you because the odds were definitely against you, man. You made the odds even, man. Shout out to you.
man, I got a few tricks up my sleeve. That's all I could say.
Hey,
I
you ain't
kind of
got
know
to
how
tell
the
your
system
secret.
works, man. You just got to be there first, right?
True. Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, no, definitely. And shout out to my boss for not bothering me.
Oh man. Shout out to boss man too. Shout out to you.
I'm busy
Yeah,
for a few
man.
minutes.
He understood, man. He understood your assignment, bro. That's what's up.
But I'm excited for training camp, right? Because it's going to give us more to talk about,
Yeah,
and
we all
we're
should
gonna
be, man. We all
we're
should.
gonna have a lot of new information, a lot of new looks,
Yeah.
and we'll be talking about this rookie running back, and preseason games too, man. There's gonna be so we could stop beating dead horses like defensive guys that we may never get, and start talking about the positives and the negatives that we actually see during football play, man. I'm excited. We're inching closer to the season, right?
Yes, indeed, man. But one thing that I do not want to happen during training camp, One thing that I do not want training camp to produce is injured football players,
Yeah,
injured
yeah.
Bears at that. You know,
I mean, we've seen that throughout the league, right? Like stars
yeah,
coming up hurt, right? And
yeah,
how much do you risk them? And just once they get into full contact, right? You have
mhm.
guys that never even make it onto the field during the season.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean it's a rough sport, man. It's definitely a rough sport.
yeah, I mean, like whole load shot in practice for the whole year. Crazy, man. Crazy. But hey man, listen. We're winging this thing, bringing thought provoking conversation. You know, something to get the thoughts and get the ideas of Bears fans. You know, working. So you know, hey, like you said, we don't have a lot more time for this. You know, training
Yeah,
camp
but
will
we're
be
2 weeks
here.
out, man. We're two
Yeah,
weeks out.
training camp will be here, and I believe it's going to be some news. You know what I'm saying? Right before training camp, something's going to happen big. You know, maybe not colossal like a Trey Hendrickson conversation, but you know, just something big as far as like if it's nothing but adding the picks, making sure those guys get signed, something like that. You know, because in the past the Bears have been pretty good about signing picks, even if it's right before training camp. So I think hopefully we can get
I
that
mean,
bug.
you have that other drama also in around the league, right? You got rookies that are facing contracts that
Mm-hmm.
from
And
certain teams that we've been
yeah,
talking about,
yeah,
right? Like, come on,
yeah,
man. Like, just sign the kid already and don't try to give him no funny deal. Like,
yeah.
yeah, the Bears are pretty good about doing right by their rookies, man. And uh, especially if they're a first rounder or a second rounder, you want to make sure that that deal goes through and
True, true.
lock these guys in, right?
Yes, indeed. But shoot, man, listen, man. Shout out to everybody that's checked us out tonight and rocking with us, wherever you watching from. Shout out to Track, shout out to guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. But hey, listen, Bears fans, as a collective, listen, let's just step away. Let's fall back from Trey Hendrickson until something hits the screen, something hits the ticker, till you get that notification on your phone, man. Let's kind of focus on what's going on in house, and let's hope they're getting the proper development so they can be effective on the field come the regular season. Well, through preseason, through training camp and preseason, and whatever happens during that time, they can carry it through the regular season. So with that, you got anything to say before we close the show?
Uh, just shout out to Highland Titans, right? Pop Warner.
Yeah.
All right. My son wanted to go play in Highland this fall, so we
Okay.
start football next week, next Monday. Pop
Yeah,
Warner
right
starts
on.
next Monday, man. So like Bears is right behind that. I know. So I'm excited for football season, man. We're inching, man. We're
Yeah.
inching closer and closer, man. It's almost football time, and I love it.
Hey, that smell of grass gets stronger every day. So yeah, but shout out to everyone that's coaching grassroots football. Shout out to every Pop Warner coach. You know, that's not an easy job. And you guys do not, you know what I'm saying, for the people that don't know, these guys um are responsible for these kids being great on the football field and off the field. So, you know, this is like
Definitely add a lot to their
yeah,
lives.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. So I give a shout out to all the coaches across the land, man, because listen,
it's a
especially them
second job
coaches,
that they don't get paid for, man.
yes,
The
and
second job that they don't get paid for.
it requires a tremendous amount of patience, you know, because you know, especially for the guys the young guys that's playing for the first time, you know, it requires a certain amount of patience, and I should give much props and respect for you guys for showing that and making these young men better every day. So shout out to you guys, man.
It'd be
Shout out to
nice.
Trax.
It'd be nice. What you call it? I love everything you just said right there, man. Because man, Pop Warner, these guys they don't get enough credit, man.
Not at
They really
all.
don't, man. I mean, they work that full-time job, and then
Hmm.
they come and put in 3, 4 hours sometimes at the end of their hard-working day. And you're right, man. This is where football grassroots comes from. Is kind of like Pop Warner and all these youth organizations, man.
Yeah, man.
So definitely shout out.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, with that, man, listen, everybody, I hope you guys are safe tonight. Wherever you guys are. I'm in Atlanta. We're going to get some more thunderstorms tonight. So y'all keep Atlanta in your prayers. Um, but shout out to everyone, man, and thank you for rocking with us tonight. With that, peace up, bear down.
Bear down.